Today we are working on Excel Expert Lesson 5, the 6th lesson, using conditional summary functions. So, here we go. Enter the first set of conditional summary formulas that will calculate statistics for all customers who spent over $50,000. These formulas are straightforward because they only have one criterion. Sales in column E is greater than 50,000. So, enter the following formulas into cells. So in cell I5, we're going to count this formula. What it's doing is counting anything that's greater than $50,000. And what it did from E5 to E29. So all of these, anything above 50,000, it's counting how many there were. And then in I6, we're using a sum if. So if adding those up, that's how much they would be, all of those that we just counted. And then in I7, we're doing an average of all of those. Notice that the sum if and average if conditional formulas used here perform their calculations on the same column in which the selected criteria are applied. In other words, these formulas select only those cells that meet the stated criteria and then perform the count, sum, and average calculations on only those cells. The significance of this will become clearer as you examine the next sets of conditional formulas. There you go. It's going to all become clearer. Suppose these statistics are similar to the first set, but the criterion is that the customer is a gold customer. However, a gold customer may have spent less than $50,000 this year, such as customers 7 and 11. Other customers have spent more than $50,000 but are not gold customers, such as customer 4 and 12. You see all those referenced in this column here. So we're going to enter the following formulas into cells. In cell I9, we're now going to calculate the gold member sales. So we're using that same Control C, and then I'm pasting this one. And then in I10, we're doing the sum of those gold customers. And then in this cell, we are doing the average of just the gold customers. It is much easier to copy and paste than trying to type those formulas. These are the same conditional formulas as the first set, except that an additional argument has been added. The criteria are applied to the cells in column F equals gold, but the sum and average are applied to the corresponding cells in column E, which is where the sales amounts are located. The average value can be verified by dividing the sum value into the count value. In contrast, the first set of conditional summary formulas calculated the statistics on the same column E on which you are applying the criterion, selected criteria. So mark is answered. Go to the next one. These formulas are even more complex because they have two criteria. The sale must be a gold customer and the sales amount must be greater than $50,000. These functions are different than the ones used in the first and second set of formulas. So we're going to, in I13, we're now calculating gold members above 50,000. You see that in this formula. Same formula, but we're adding above $50,000. And then in I14, we're going to do the same thing using the sum if. Control C, and then pasting that one. And then I15, Control C, and pasting that one. Notice that the sequence of parameters for the sum and average formulas is different in the single criterion and multiple criterion versions. Also notice that only 5 customers met the selection criteria. This is because not all gold customers spent more than $50,000, and not all customers who spent more than $50,000 are gold customers. The worksheet should now appear similar to this, which if I look at our numbers, everything matches. So let's mark that as answered and move on. Click the IfS Worksheet tab, select cell D4, and enter this big long formula. Control C. I'm going to paste that formula. The IfS function allows you to run logical tests for multiple criteria without the need to nest multiple if functions. In this example, you're labeling cities with populations greater than or equal to 5 million as megacity, cities with population greater than or equal to 2 million but under 5 million as large, and cities with populations greater than or equal to 1 million but under 2 million as medium. So that's what this formula that we copied here, megacity, large, and medium. So copy this formula down from D5 to D19. And the worksheet should appear as follows: megacity, large, and medium, which ours does, or mine does, hopefully yours does. Mark that as answered. Go to the next one. Click the max, if, s, and this one. Click that worksheet. Cell I5, right here. We're going to enter this formula. The max IfS function allows you to find the maximum value for multiple criteria at the same time. In this example, you're finding the maximum number of tour packages for Group 1 in 2020. Here's our Group 1 in 2020. The cell range D5 to D18 contains the value you want to display. That's why we put that right here. The cell range A5 to A18 represents the first criteria, and cell C5 specifies the first criteria's value. The cell range B5 to B18 represents the second criteria, and cell G5 represents the second criteria's value. Select cell I9, and we're going to enter this formula. The min-fs function allows you to find the minimum value for the multiple criteria at the same time. In this example, you're finding the minimum number of tour packages for Group 2 in 2020. The worksheet should now appear as 79 and 50. 79 and 50, we see that that is correct. So mark that as answered. Go to the next one. Click the Switch Worksheet tab. Select cell B5. And we're going to enter this switch formula. That's a long formula. Type that if you so desire. You're crazy if you do. So the switch function evaluates an expression against a list of values and returns results that corresponds to that value. In this example, A5 contains the expression Australia. The first value result pair says that if the value is Australia, the result is Sydney. The second value result pair says that if the value is Asia, it's going to put Hong Kong and so on. The last value, NA, says that if there's no match, the result is NA. So we're going to copy this formula down from B6 to B9. And you see that all of those did the words that were in there, and Oceania was not. So it should look like this, Sydney, and so on and so forth. And ours does. Mark that as answered. Submit results. And this completes using conditional summary functions.